note, and it's very, very important. I did not pay enough attention to this. The pop-off pressure on the carburetors. Make sure you test that. Make sure you test it and have it set properly. I thought, based on what I saw when I took my carburetors apart, that the springs that I got were gonna be fine, but one was below pressure and one was above pressure, and I could not get the carburetors to tune and do what I needed them to do until I pulled them back off and set the pop-off pressure. There's good articles out there on the web about setting the pop-off pressure. Just make sure you do it. Make sure the two carburetors are close to each other within 3-4 pounds. They should be right there with each other, but can't express enough how important it is to get your pop-off pressure set properly on your carburetors. Taking apart my Cooney carb. This is the mag side. Yeah, the mag side. Taking it apart, I've got a real Cooney kit. That one's open. Always get the real stuff. Don't get the OEM stuff, off-brand stuff. So the carb looks good. It's off a 97 GTX 787, and I'm just cleaning it up and replacing all the parts. So when you're rebuilding these Cooney carbs for your Seadoo, in particular, this is off the 787/800 1997 GTX. It's the Cooney BN40 38, I believe. Anyway, couple things you want to pay attention to. Make sure that spring is in there. And when you put this together, this is how it needs to look. The reason is this little dimple right there goes right inside. And this is really hard to do one-handed, so I'm not gonna get it, but this little dimple here, that there fits inside of that to hold it in place. And even though your needle jet, your needle valve, sorry, trying to do this and watch at the same time, may have a little hole in it, it doesn't go anywhere. Doesn't go anywhere around, and if you actually look down inside your brass cylinder here, there's no inlet or any place for it to go. Not really sure why it's there, but it could be there, so don't let that bother you. Just when you put this back on, put it back on in this orientation. And again, this is on the mag carb. When you're replacing this plate, notice it has a flange on it. It helps you take it off. And if you feel right around here, there's a ridge all the way around, except for right here and right here. There's a small one right here. But this little flange piece needs to hang off like this. You can't do it like that because this ridge is in the way. So you do it like this, and that's the proper way. You can see that it actually fits down inside that groove, that riser, so it's flush right there. Okay, so there's a gasket here. You can see the gasket here, round with a little hole in it. Pulse facing toward me. Pulse. And then there's a plastic with an O-ring. And then there's two little ones there. Not sure about them. That's all pitted, but it's not pitted, it's just dirty. You lift this, and those two, that's for one of those little plastic clear, right there is one of those plastic clear ones. I don't see one on this side. Oh, there is one, it's right there. So the two plastic clear things are what hold those in place. So it was like this, with this little notch here fitting in that notch, so it can only go in that way. This little notch here. When you flip that over, you've got this that rides on top of that, and the little filter there. So this is the oil pump. And I've got all those parts. Rebuilding my Seadoo Mikuni carb for my 787-97. And this is on the fuel pump side. On the mag side, you can see there's these little plastic one-way valve here, and there's one here, and these are included in your kit. And getting them out's a pain, but the easy way to do it is just to grab this little piece right here and just tear it off, and then everything comes out. Getting it back in is another question though. I've seen people use silicone or whatever that helps, and they basically just fight it until it goes in. I couldn't get that to happen. So what I did was I got a little bit of 30 weight oil, put it in a cap, just got a little bit on the end of it. This is going to be mixed with gas and burned right off pretty quick anyway. But then what I did was I took a regular hanger and I took that curved end out of it. And I did this on purpose. I didn't want to just have a cut piece like that. So what I did was I took the curved end out of it, and that comes from the factory already straight. So then I bent it back so that I could get my weight right over it. And I pushed in on, it fits, if you look, it fits just right inside there. So you can use that to give you some leverage and wiggle it around and all until you get it in. But make sure you do it, and make sure yours is a lot cleaner than mine. I've got to do some cleaning on this one. So I got my Seadoo engine back, had it rebuilt by, I'll think of the name in a second. But you can see I've got some things taped off. I got the water lines put in. I got the oil line put in. I got the stator cover on. I got the engine mount put on. I got the rave valves. These are flush. They were not, which is not how you're supposed to start. So I went ahead and put those back flush. You can see a little bit of that copper Loctite there. I've got this is timed already. So I just taped it, as well as covering up the hole. I've got this oil line on. I've got the starter on. And I guess that's about everything for now. The next thing is the oil pump, which I have tested, but I'm going to test a little bit more. I have checked the stator, and everything looks good there when you check for continuity on the bottom 3 pins. I was in it's supposed to be between 0.1 and 1, and I was in the 0.25 to 30 range, so that's good. I've got the engine. This is the motor support. Got this on and torqued. And next step is replace a few fuel lines in that magnificent 97 GTX. Replace a few fuel lines and empty out the existing fuel, flush out the oil reservoir, and then put some premix. And the next step on the list is to actually put it in. On the 787, you can use this hook to hoist it by. And fortunately, out here, and I've got, it's hard to tell, but there's an opening up there. So what I plan on doing is putting like a towel over that, hanging a chain, and then bringing it down, and then putting my come along on the chain and hoisting that up, bringing the Seadoo in here and bringing it in and attaching all the lines. So far, so good. Your water lines should point toward each other for this piece to go in here, which I'll be replacing as well. And then this is your oil line, and that goes directly, I believe, to the oil reservoir. That might not be right, but I believe that's the in, and this is the return. So like I said, next step is to replace a couple of fuel lines and then hang this thing in the air and set it in. So I've got the ski in my carport. Can't see because of the sun. Threw that towel over, gonna hang a chain and all that. What I'm working on right now are all those lines, 4 lines coming off the gas tank. They're the old gray crap, so I got to replace those. And they go right there is the fuel selector. So you can see that 3 of them go there, and there's another one right beside it, and there's another one that goes there. So I'm not sure where that goes to, unless that's just like a reserve or something. I don't know. It might come around, but anyway, I'm working on that. And what I had to do to get this up was I had to take my small pry bar and go around the edges after loosening the clamps, go around the edges and pry that up very gently so I didn't tear it up all around the edge of the main boot there. Went around that just to slide that up, and now what I have is this is moving up and down, but until I get all these hoses disconnected where I can pull it out, I won't be ready to go. So that's next. The next step, I labeled those. I labeled 2 out of the 3, which is pretty obvious. One's in the front, and then one's, let's look. One's kind of on the front, and then one's either top and bottom or just left and right, like we were saying. So you got that one on the very front, and then you got kind of one that's above it on the back and one on the bottom. So I marked the front and the left or top, and I'm going to pull that out. So the first step to that is to remove this ring. Just got a Phillips head on it. But the thing about this is, the next step is to remove that big retaining nut, and I believe it's 1 3/16 or maybe like 22, 23 millimeters, something like that. I don't have anything that big. So what I've come up with is I'm gonna give my needle nose vice grips a shot at it. This is just plastic, so it's not held on much. My needle nose vice grips were able to handle the job just to get it started. And you can see this is, like I said, it's just plastic, so that pulls off. And then this little cover pulls off. Where's the pick when you need it, huh? This little cover, come on. You just got to get it started. So can't really see it until I get this loose. That says on right there. This is out to the fuel line, which is that guy right there. And then the reserve also just kind of goes back to the gas tank, I believe. Probably these guys right here. So let's start cutting them and pulling them out. My storage tub, I was like, damn, it'd be great if that would come out. And yeah, it lifts out. So what I've been trying to fight to get to is this right here, so I could remove this whole line, change out my fuel filter, which looks like in pretty good shape. And then I can pull this out much easier. Much easier. Oh, look at there. Somebody's got some kind of a fuel line going to the edge. Imagine that's just a breather with nothing on it. But I'm going to check into that. And another small tube here. I don't know where it goes. I don't want to pull on it too much. So let's get that. Let's get that off there. This is what I came up with. I hung that up. That chain come along. Got my motor hanging. There's my workbench that I was using, and then my table over there. But that's where the motor was sitting on that. Just picked it up, swung it into place, and I've already come through and primed the oil pump lines and tested them, and got some oil in this line here. But something tells me that line's got to go somewhere else longer than that. So anyway, this is the next part of the project, is to drop this thing in there. Got to figure out a couple things and I'll be good to go. So here we go, sitting in the driveway. Finally got it all going. Okay, so while rebuilding my 97 GTX, just got the motor in, Seadoo engine shop. Tom did a great job. Was a stand-up guy. You might read some stuff bad about him online, but I had nothing but a good experience. He did a good job. And anyway, this is about the tray. I had to take the tray out, obviously, and I got some of these. These came with it, and I decided I had lost a couple of these pieces, so I went to Napa and got the parts, and they were just bugging me and fighting me. So what I did was kind of, I think, ingenious. I took a tie wrap that would fit through where the locking end would not fit through, and I fed it through the hole and held it in place with a pair of vice grips while I got all 4 of them ready. So I put vice grips. I only had 3 sets of vice grips, so I did 3, and then I came into this one and I thought, hey, good moment for a video. So then I ran this through this hole, and then grab another zip tie, and then you can basically just put this down in here, and it's kind of hard to do this. So basically you just do that. Now that's in there snug. Quick and snip them off. Do this on this piece, the piece that you're just using the locking end. I recommend going ahead and cutting that off now. And then you can just use it to tighten up, and then just snip the other end, and that's basically what you have. Even though I had spent $6 on a pack of things to hold that in, and couldn't actually get, because they didn't want to fit up here, up top. It was a little bit difficult. Yeah, I know I need to clean it. Like I said, I just rebuilt it, so I cleaned it once, but I got to clean it again because it's filthy. But good little hack. That's in tight, and we don't have anything to worry about. Okay, finally got her running. About to give her the maiden, take the maiden voyage. Purring, a little bit high idle, but just right. So, post-mortem on the whole thing. Study, study, study. Print out your guides. I can't tell you how many times I referred to the diagrams and the guides to make sure that I was hooking the hoses up properly. Take lots of pictures when you start, which I did. I just didn't put them in the video. And just take your time. If you've never done this and you're slightly mechanical, you can do it. Tom at Seadoo Engine Shop was great. He helped me out and did a great job. And he has a link on his page, on his website, to the manuals where you can find all the diagrams you need. So take your time and study them. Don't hook something up wrong. Make sure your oil pump is working. You can hook that up to a drill and make sure it's pumping. And little things like that will help ensure that your build goes successfully. Good luck and have fun.